What do you feel as far as like auto plating versus manual plating, or would you rather see like a whole different, or maybe the return of the buildable shield again? But would you like to see a different system?
Free guide.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, free guide. I mean, unless they guide you with markers like Pack-a-Punch, but I doubt they would do that. Would you be able to put that conversation to rest with armor? Do you think that's just here to stay indefinitely? Not even because of Warzone, but just because it's like just simplistic and makes zombies accessible, unlike before where people had to watch a guide for shields. Like, what do you think as far as that argument goes?
Yeah, like I mean, it's so valid and it's still like so rampant. I think it will be throughout all of the period between now and the launch of BO7 Zombies. I think like fundamentally, I preferred the Cold War auto pickup. Like I remember when we played MWZ early, that was the first time that we had seen the return of armor, but it wasn't like manual pickup. It was like you had to do it yourself, like Warzone.
Yeah.
Like I've always preferred it being auto because it does feel like a sort of strange thing to be doing in a zombies mode because it does feel like Warzone. But at the end of the day, I think like when you break down the system and then compare it to prior games where you have to build the shield, armor actually works out being a lot more favorable, where you'll survive a lot more hits. It's overall it's a more convenient way to give yourself extra health. I mean, we can look at Call of Duty World War II Zombies as being like the first culprit to really like introduce that concept of armor, and that's an alternate way to look at it, where it's like if you lost that armor, you had to buy it back with points, and every time it got more and more expensive. It's a lot. It's a way better system in BO6 compared to that, but I don't necessarily think that armor plating is a problem, because even when you look at like Turtle Shell for the augment, it really doesn't work. Like the game doesn't work if you have a shield on your back and then getting hit in all directions in front of you. But I think the real problem is not necessarily the armor itself, but more just the visual aesthetic design of it, and the visual mechanic of putting the armor back on you is something that isn't zombies. And
yeah,
if Treyarch really wanted to like get to a good middle ground place here with this, they need to just go back to the drawing board and try and come up with a different visual design and animation that fits more of the zombies aesthetic. Like if we're in the Dark Ether, have it where it's like some Dark Ether energy or something, and it just gets like infused in your chest or something like that. Or, you know, we could do something like Bioshocky or World War II, where it's like you inject yourself with some sort of perk elixir or something like that. Just to like something, you know, that's just very zombies, something that's very different. Something where someone from Warzone and multiplayer can understand the mechanic because the button prompt is the same, but like the actual visual is different, but enough for them to still understand it. I think if they did that, it would do a lot of good. Because every game people are like, guys, this might be the year. Modern Zombies might get rid of armor plates. It might be it. And I don't think it's happening. I genuinely don't think they'll ever revert it. But it's when people like really break it down, it's not that the armor plates are the problem, because like the game is designed with that in mind. If you take that away, like Jingle Hells with Liberty Falls last Christmas, like people were hating how hard that is because they couldn't craft armor. They couldn't, the weapon rarities weren't there. So it's like the complaints people had about the mechanics, they got rid of that, and then it just proves how difficult the game is. But then we have this whole like topic of like, is classic mode going to happen this year, you know? And it's like, what does classic mode look like? Because you got a preview of it last year and people hated it. And then it's like, we're trying to have to rebalance the whole game to factor that in. And I think it's impossible. That's like 2 games at that point. Everything's going to have to be tuned and changed. Weapons, damage, health, hits, speed, just everything. So like what I suggested is my own personal like way that I'd fix the problem, but I don't think getting rid of plates is like gonna be a thing. I don't think it's gonna happen, and I think the game would be a lot harder because of it. Like I feel like zombies games have gotten a bit easier over the years, but people haven't really realized that until you go back and play like Black Ops 2, where you've got a 2-hit.
Yeah,
it's so much more difficult.
I think the only thing I can honestly see happening is them going back to auto plating. I think that might be a long shot, but I think that's like a happy medium compromise where it's like, okay, we're not going to remove armor plates, but you know, if the animation's the problem, we'll just go back to auto plating, just by running over the plates as ground loot, and obviously you can go buy it back, or maybe an armor refill. That the armor refill would have to be changed in the crafting table from singular to just fill it up with maybe 150 salvage or 200, like whatever, something along those lines. Because like I agree, I don't think we're gonna see that go away anytime soon, because when those mechanics kind of were removed, people, you know, realized, wow, this game's actually really hard and it's not really that fun. Jingle Hells, you know, for example. And but yeah, I do think seeing how reactionary they were with carry forward, I think zombies something's gonna change with zombies that was previously announced. I think
I'm kind of mixed on classic mode though, just because I feel like, I mean, some of these newer details that popped up on August 13th might indicate that a classic mode could be coming. But for example, you remember those rumors about like, oh, Avalon Outbreak's going to happen, and you know, leaks were discovered. I think that was all misinterpreted, and that was probably just endgame, because zombies are in endgame for campaign, right? So I think that's one misinterpretation. And then when this classic mode stuff came out, maybe that was like early remnants of work that's being done for like the survival mode, which maybe they're calling classic zombies in a way, because there aren't Easter eggs. They haven't done that kind of system since BO2, right? Yeah. So that's kind of where I've been for classic mode, and fully agree with you guys about the Jingle Hells example. Like, even if they brought out a classic mode, kind of like the Jingle Hells, and let's say people maybe were mixed on it, maybe they didn't love it, but maybe they were mixed on it, I think the goalposts would move again to where everyone's like, oh, well, this is almost perfect, but then the point system, they didn't change this, they didn't change that. You'd have to make a whole new game just to accommodate for like a real classic mode.
Yeah.
But these rumors came out literally second week of August that apparently a classic mode has a separate wall buy mystery box, and allowed weapon sets, mini maps hidden, perk limits 4, exfil disabled. Maybe we're actually going to see a classic mode on like the survival arenas in BO7. Who knows? And it could be better balanced than Jingle Hells was. But yeah, I remember when that mode came out, and I'm like, damn, this is a real tough mode. Like, Jingle Hells was real tough. Definitely a lot harder than the Cold War version. But what do you think, John? Do you think there's misinterpreted info going around from like the leaks about, you know, Avalon Outbreak, which could have been endgame, and then this classic mode stuff?
Yeah, like, it's really hard because at the end of the day, like, we're not the data miners. We're not seeing the information that people are putting out.
Yeah.
Clearly, they need to be fairly confident with what they're discovering to be able to put it out there, because it's like their word against the world. There has to be some truth to it. But at the end of the day, like, development's a weird thing. We don't know exactly, like, you know, that could be something that maybe they are actively developing on right now, hence why it's just been recently added. Or there's just some weird freak code from a very old build that somehow has ended up in an update. We don't really know. Like, I am like hopeful that one day we'll see a classic mode, but like, going into the discussions of what we were saying before, I feel like if the day does come that we do get a classic mode, I think people are going to be quite disappointed, because it's impossible for Treyarch to please every single person that would like a classic mode. Because with those leaks, if they are true, it kind of shows what Treyarch define classic mode like rule set as. And obviously some people go, well, the point system's not changed, so how is that classic? It'd be like, well, the health system isn't the same as like older zombies games, like there's still armor plates, like how is that classic? So it's like, I don't think there's a scenario where they can win.
Yeah. I don't think so either. I mean,
yeah, it's Call of Duty, so they're always going to do something regardless.
Right.
But yeah, the whole conversation of misinterpreted leaks, I think we've kind of seen that recently with I believe someone, I forget who it was, someone leaked out that there was going to be different tier zones for a zombie map. And then, you know, reveal comes out, and it seems like was more so for endgame, with different tiered zones and everything. So, you know, like you said, development's a weird thing. Maybe one thing was something at some point, got changed, or, you know, it was always that and just got misinterpreted.